Okay, that was it. So British exit was the withdrawal of United Kingdom from the European Union and the European Atomic Energy Community. Till date, UK is the only and first country to formally leave EU, that is European Union, after 47 years of membership within the bloc, and after having first joined its predecessor, the European Communities, on 1st January 1973. So it's almost thought to be the first country to withdraw voluntarily from the Economic and Monetary Union of countries, though you can never adopt a euro. So, after years of campaigning, infighting, and elections, Brexit is now a reality in the UK and Europe. Let's go to Neeraj and ask how is he gonna be benefiting? He's got office in UK as well as in other part of Europe. Over to you, Neeraj.
The business for us is definitely a good benefit because there's going to be more business in terms of we specialize in custom declarations and custom brokerage from worldwide, and Europe was never a part of it because Europe there was never a custom brokerage required because it was a free movement of goods. But as of 1st of January 2021, everything which moves in and out of the Europe is going to be treated as is going to India or USA, which means you have to do a custom declaration when the goods leave the country, and you have to do custom declaration when goods arrive in the country, which means there is a more business for people like us because there are now 28 countries added more into that part of the declaration where people are sending goods to the UK and sending goods from UK to their country. So yeah, it's in terms of business is good thing to us. There is nothing I can say bad about it.
And your alliances in Europe? You got
Uh,
another office in Spain as well.
yeah, so they're also going to get benefit because the stuff which we used to send directly from our offices in Hong Kong and India and US, which used to come to UK and then used to travel into Europe, we're going to be now doing direct flights from those countries into Spain, and doing all the custom clearance over there and then distributing goods from there into the rest of the Europe. Although that kind of gives us a little bit of a negative impact on our business because it was coming to UK first and then getting into the Europe. But I think for what we have gained to what we're gonna be losing is kind of counter react to each other.
That's something really nice. I'm glad you're gonna be making more money. Over to you, Lata. What do you think? What is your opinion? How are others gonna be benefiting or losing in especially in UK?
Uh, I think UK as an economy, it was the sixth largest in the world. Yeah, some 2.8 trillion pounds was the UK economy for a population of 66 million, and Brexit particularly has impacted services like financial services, which is probably what would be most relevant for me. Services segment itself was 3/4 of the UK economy, right? Its financial services was contributing, let's say, 7% of GDP. And almost 50% of the trade surplus was because of financial services. There has been no agreement for financial services when we left the European Union on the 31st. Banking, particularly, there were 5 separate areas where, like any British bank, for instance, could provide services to European companies, European institutions, or even individuals. We were allowed core banking, which means retail. We could have accounts, we could take money, we could take deposits and all those things. We could give secondary market, that means we could give financial advice services, we could give market instruments to them. We could do payment services, that means we could arrange for money transfers. We could design, distribute, collect investment products, which was again something more specialized. We could do alternative investment funds even. So like out of these 5, none of them, and we had some arrangement called passporting. That means if one country of the European Union allowed us to do those services, all countries in the European Union would have the same level of service, which means we were treated as if we were one of resident in those countries. Same laws, everything was the same. So it was like transacting with a British bank, for instance, internally. It was that simple. Passporting was the arrangement, as it was called. Now we are moving to something called equivalence. Equivalence means each of those countries, each of those banks, each of those institutions has to agree that the UK is equivalent in terms of legal and procedural or transactional or regulatory, everything actually. It has to agree first. And that equivalence only applies to not only that particular country, it also applies only to that particular segment. For instance, if I have equivalence, now we have agreed equivalence for, let's say, settlements, because UK is one of the, is the international financial settlement. That means you can transact anywhere in the world, settle through the UK clearing system. That has been agreed to continue till 2022. But nothing else can be done apart from clearing. Clearing doesn't mean deposits. Deposit doesn't mean something. I'll give you a simple transaction. We syndicate a loan. That means banks group with other banks to provide a loan to some company, let's say in the EU, which wants to set up a new factory. Earlier, I could just go and do it. I could do anything. I could not only give them a syndicated loan, I could even allow them to hedge their interest rates. I could allow them to hedge their funding requirements, and I could do all currency risk, everything I could allow them to do via my bank. All divisions of my bank would do all these services. It would come as a package deal, and there was no problem. And I would earn commissions for it, different kinds of commission. Now, I cannot do any of that. Firstly, I have to get equivalence. Even if I get equivalence, supposing let's say the owner of that company comes to me and says, I want financial advisory for my personal assets, to help me invest my own monies, or, let's get me more tax efficient, or whatever it was. I can't do it because retail is anyway not part of this deal. It's never going to be part of any equivalence. So at least for the time being, I don't know how future negotiations will work,
Definitely.
but this is how we are. So given a simple transaction like a syndicated loan, which is part of anybody, if I do a single M&A deal, which is not even a large size one, I will be looking at syndication. I will be looking at financial derivatives. I will be looking at currency risk. I will be looking at pretty much cross-border. Okay, UK never adopted the euro as currency. But having said that, it was part of the European Union. So we are all dealing with, we are dealing with each other. And UK has, London particularly, had set itself as the biggest financial market. It's taken on par probably with New York, Hong Kong, London. Even London was, let's say, a few steps ahead of all those. Every company which had a share issue or anything, bonds issue, anything, wanted to list in London, because we are also market makers in the sense we allow other buyers and sellers, we allow them to come and trade on our floors. And essentially, we are making a market. And all that gives, not only generates revenue, it makes us the biggest financial trading hub or the financial center for the world, which we don't have anymore. We don't know. 1.2 trillion of assets have already been moved to Europe. It is not.
I also believe that in the coming time, the immigration, the manpower who are coming and working in the UK, it's going to affect too. Maybe people are going to realize in coming time. Maybe other businesses. Neeraj is blessed. I'm guessing he's already making a lot of money in COVID. COVID has been a boon for courier and parcel and freight businesses. So he's blessed that he'll be making more business, and I'm happy for him.
I would agree that it's good for business which are looking at, let's say, customs or other regulatory things. But it is probably, perhaps, like he himself said, more efficient for them to get it internally without going through the UK. They can just transact in Europe, get all their business into Europe and out. His company as a whole might make money, that's great, and it might be an offset. But having said that, what happens to the business in the UK if people are not going to come? Like, for instance, the biggest haulier who does 4,000 trucks a day or something. Yes. He's like, I'm not even going to go. I've parked all my trucks for the next 2 weeks because I don't know how these procedures are going to work. Dover alone, which is 26% of imports into the UK, has said that they will have 260 million customs forms to deal with in the coming year. They don't have the manpower to do that. Also, like you say, manpower has become so essential because the EU has decided not to recognize it. It's also UK. The UK's qualifications are not recognized anymore. So if I'm an accountant here, I can't just walk into Paris or Brussels or anywhere else. I can't go and do any transaction there because none of my qualifications is recognized there anymore. So I have to first go and pass all these exams.
Okay, let's talk to Neeraj again.
Yeah.
So, Neeraj, you must be having other businesses, sorry, other friends who are into business. What
Yes.
is their opinion?
So I was a Brexiter, so I supported Brexit.
Mhm.
The main cause for my supporting Brexit was to control the borders. I think to having allow 27 countries to come and visit your country without a visa is an opening to a lot of troubles. To point. So I think my issue with Brexit was that it has to control the borders.
Yes.
As long as the second thing which I come back to, you guys said about the manpower and everything, I don't think we're going to have any shortage of manpower.
Okay.
What the problem is that we have enough labor coming in from India, Australia, Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan. There is enough labor there who is willing to come and work as hard as what Europeans did, or they are doing it at present. The point was they were not allowed to come because there was a tier system or a point system and everything else, whereas European could just walk in
Mm-hmm.
and work in the country without applying for any work permit or anything else. I believe that that was completely unfair. I think now we are on a level playing field with all the countries in the world. We take Canada. Canada had a deal with the rest of the Europe of a free trade deal. Basically, anyone who imports from Italy or France or Spain
Mm-hmm.
into Canada, there was no duty to be paid.
Okay.
When that deal happened, UK did not get that deal.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure why, but if let's say if you buy 100 pair of jeans from Italy and you buy 100 pairs of jeans from UK, the jeans coming from Italy into Canada will be need 0% duty. The jeans coming from Canada to UK or from UK to Canada will have 8% duty plus GST, which was so
Costing more.
now UK is in a better situation where they can do trade deals with another 47, 50 countries on its own to give each other a benefit. What we always did was we always looked at the market, which was right next door to us and it was easily available. What we ignored completely, that there is a whole lot of a world there who has doing a lot of other things, a lot of better things, but we never looked around and said, well, hang on a second. I know it might be 4 hours additional on my flight time, but
Mm-hmm.
I can get a better deal, right?
Yep.
Yes, I do agree. There's a lot of holiers, truckers who are going to have a problem initially, but
I
systems
have
are
to
there.
come there. The level playing field we have now, we have left the European Union, but we
Yeah.
have not, we cannot really negotiate with other countries yet because we have left with a level playing field. The 660 or 68 billion trade deal we have with the EU says clearly that we will not upset any of the laws that exist and make the level playing field. We want access to that single market, and they have ensured that we access the single market by not jeopardizing the European market's chances with any other market. So we cannot go and negotiate with Canada or anybody else for any deal unless we upset the European Union. And the
No,
moment
no,
we
no.
upset the single market here, we are going to have tariffs imposed. That's what they've said. And
That's
chances
right.
are, I mean,
Only for 4.5 years, but at the same time, there is nowhere said that now UK cannot go to Canada and have a deal with Canada just because EU already have a deal with Canada. I mean, Boris Johnson is already going to India.
you can have the deal. It's just that if the EU finds that that is in some way coming into the single market, it is definitely going to not allow anything to impose on the single market. I mean,
Yeah,
we have to be aware of that. We're not saying that,
of
oh,
course.
the whole world is not open. It's like our Prime Minister says the whole world is open and Britain is such a great country. I mean, Britain is a great country. It
It
has
is.
institutional strength. It has capability. It has manpower. It has everything. But Britain has also entered into this Brexit, what is it called? The deal which we left the European Union on was not a no deal. If it was no deal, we can just go tomorrow and negotiate with the whole world. But we
Yeah,
have left with the deal. That
yeah,
means for 5.5 years, we have to continue fisheries. For 3
yeah,
years, we have to continue with settlements. We have
yeah.
to continue. We have not negotiated data transfers. All these things have to be negotiated.
Yes.
So while
My one question to you: how can you guys forget one important information is that is the criminal data, which
yes, Yes.
UK was sharing
We
with
don't have agreement. No, that's the thing. We have 3 months now to negotiate financial services and data. Hopefully, we will have, because you know what? When we had these attacks in UK, the the information did come from a European agency. So
Yes.
that's how close it is. Europe, I mean, UK is the cutting edge as far as spying or data or espionage or all these services go, all these functions go, which are so key to keeping us safe. Not only us, but the world at large safe. But only when working with Europe, because the data transfer between our agencies has been that close. We have worked as one, and we don't have an agreement on that either. So
Yes.
there are so many things we can upset
yes,
before.
It will come with the time. It will come with the time because,
yes,
like I said, any change when it happens, it is always going to be for a good reason. But yes, change is very, very hard to
I
accept.
agree. We started with immigration as a problem, but
Yes.
immigration was such a serious problem, no doubt. We had even, I won't even say workers coming in. We had people coming from India and so many countries on student visas, and they had no intention of studying here.
That's
But
right.
they were being given 75% rebates on their school, on their tuition fees, and they were just here. They were not intending to study. I mean,
Yeah, but they've changed that.
I am really enjoying this conversation here. I can very well say Lata is a financial expert and Neeraj is an amazing businessman who knows only how to make money, 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 and he's doing wonderfully good. God bless you both. Thank you, guys. You were wonderful. It was so
Thank
nice
you.
to have you in my studio, and I wish you best of luck to you both. It was very, very, very nice to have you, and hope in coming time you both progress. People in Britain progress. People in EU make good money and you all are safe. Let's see in coming months what this Brexit deal brings to all of us.
We have
Yes,
hope.
we have to wait
We
and
have hope.
watch.
We
Yes,
definitely have hope.
and yes,
Thank
and
you.
with this, I end this. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, guys. Thank
Yes.
you so much,
Thank you.
Neeraj, and thank you, Lata.
Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care. Thank you.